Ladies and gentlemen, we are born into this world, each one of us alone. This is not to say that we are isolated or that we cannot connect, but it is an undeniable truth that we come into existence through our own experience of life. No one else can live your life, and no one else can walk your path. And yet we are all bound together by this same mystery of existence, a great tapestry woven from countless threads, each of us a singular point of awareness, and yet together we form the whole. Now, let us turn our attention to the man who has no friend. This is a man who stands alone in the midst of a crowded world, perhaps longing for companionship, perhaps feeling the sharp sting of loneliness. And in that loneliness he may feel the absence of something that others seem to have, something that he believes would complete him. A friend. The solitude of the human experience. In the vast expanse of life, each of us walks a unique path, a journey filled with moments both of connection and of profound solitude. The human experience is complex, marked by interactions, relationships, and shared aspirations. Yet, at its core, there is a profound sense of individuality. We may travel with others, but there are aspects of our journey that only we ourselves can truly understand. Moments when we find ourselves alone, navigating the intricacies of our own minds, our own hearts. This solitude, far from being a burden, holds an unparalleled potential. It is within this solitude that the essence of who we are is forged, and where some of the most transformative growth happens. The solitude of the human experience can feel daunting. We live in a world so interconnected, where everyone seems only a message or a click away, and yet there are times when we feel entirely alone. We may surround ourselves with friends, family, and mentors, but there are certain experiences, certain thoughts that remain ours alone. This solitude, however, is not a sign of failure or inadequacy, rather. It is a reminder of our unique journey. It is an invitation to turn inward, to listen to the quiet voice within that often gets lost in the noise of daily life. In solitude, we encounter ourselves in our purest form, free from the influences and expectations of others. There is a power in embracing this solitude, a transformative energy that lies in facing our own minds and hearts without distraction. When we are alone, we are granted the freedom to explore our thoughts, to question our beliefs, and to discover what truly matters to us. It is in solitude that we confront our fears and insecurities, that we examine our dreams and aspirations. We are given the chance to peel away the layers that we wear in public and to stand unmasked before ourselves. This process may not be easy, for it requires courage to face the parts of ourselves that we may prefer to ignore. But it is through this confrontation that we find clarity and strength. In solitude, we learn to appreciate our own company, to find joy and fulfillment in simply being with ourselves. We begin to understand that we do not need external validation to feel complete. The solitude of the human experience teaches us self-reliance and resilience. It teaches us that no matter the circumstances, we have within us the power to persevere, to rise above challenges, and to create meaning in our lives. This solitude is not about isolation, but about self-discovery. It is about realizing that we are enough as we are, that we have value and worth simply because we exist. Solitude is not a place of emptiness, it is a wellspring of creativity, insight, and strength. When we embrace our solitude, we allow ourselves to think deeply, to reflect, and to dream without boundaries. Some of the greatest thinkers, artists, and visionaries have found their inspiration in moments of solitude. In the quiet of their minds, they discovered ideas and possibilities that changed the world. When we are alone, we have the freedom to explore our minds without interruption, to cultivate ideas that may one day become our greatest achievements. But solitude is not just about personal growth, it is also about connection. For when we have taken the time to understand ourselves, to accept our own imperfections and embrace our own dreams, we are better able to connect with others. True connection is born from a place of authenticity, and that authenticity is cultivated in solitude. When we are comfortable with who we are, we do not need to wear masks or put on facades. We can approach others with honesty and openness, knowing that we are worthy of love and respect simply as we are. So let us not fear the solitude of the human experience. Let us not shy away from those moments when we are alone, for it is in those moments that we find ourselves. Solitude is not a void, it is a canvas, waiting for us to paint our lives with purpose, vision, and resilience. The illusion of separation. Today, I invite you to journey with me beyond the boundaries of what we commonly perceive as separate. We often believe that we are individual, isolated entities moving through life, bounded by our physical form, our name, and our unique personal experiences. This idea that we are separate from one another, from the world, even from the very breath we take, is one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs in the human mind. But is this perception true? Or is it merely an illusion we've woven around ourselves? Consider for a moment the power of connection that we experience even in the simplest ways: a glance exchanged between strangers, the shared laughter among friends, the quiet understanding between a parent and child. These moments of connection may seem small, even fleeting, yet they hint at something profound: the realization that the lines we draw between us and them, between me and you, are more fragile than we often acknowledge. These distinctions are, in many ways, an illusion. The truth is, we are all threads woven into a vast and intricate tapestry, each thread adding to the whole, each one essential. Take, for instance, the rhythm of nature, the ebb and flow of the tides, the rise and fall of the sun, the way the seasons transition seamlessly from one to the next. These cycles are not isolated events, yet we witness them every day without questioning the harmony that binds them. Just as the rivers flow into oceans and clouds dissolve into rain, we too are part of an interwoven cycle of existence. When we view ourselves as separate from this cycle, we lose sight of our natural alignment with the world and with one another. The illusion of separation keeps us from embracing the idea that we are part of something vast, something infinitely interconnected. Imagine if we allowed ourselves to see beyond this illusion, to recognize the humanity within every person we meet. What would happen if, instead of judging or fearing our differences, we celebrated them as diverse expressions of a shared life force? Our lives would transform. We would begin to see that every conversation, every interaction is an opportunity to learn from one another, to expand our understanding, and to foster compassion. We would find strength not in isolating ourselves, but in drawing closer to each other, finding unity even in our diversity. The power of self-reflection and inner dialogue. Today we embark on a journey into the heart of self-reflection and inner dialogue, a journey that, once fully embraced, has the power to transform us from the inside out. In a world that moves at an unrelenting pace, we rarely take the time to pause, to look within, and to listen to the dialogue we hold with ourselves. Yet these moments of introspection are where true growth resides. When we engage in self-reflection, we are not merely looking at who we are today, we are setting the stage for who we are yet to become. Self-reflection allows us to take an honest inventory of our lives. It shines a light on our strengths, our challenges, our values, and our deepest desires. It's where we can ask ourselves the tough questions, the ones that may not have immediate answers, but that invite us to consider our journey more deeply. Are we truly satisfied with where we are? Are we living in alignment with the values we hold dear? Are we growing, or have we become stagnant, comfortable in routine? Through self-reflection, we begin to understand our motivations and the reasons behind our actions, gaining clarity on what genuinely matters to us. This clarity is not only empowering, it is liberating. It frees us from the burden of living up to others' expectations and helps us align with our authentic selves. Engaging in self-reflection requires courage, and it requires honesty. We must be willing to look at parts of ourselves that we might prefer to avoid. Sometimes our self-reflection reveals patterns that no longer serve us, habits that hinder rather than help. We may find fears that hold us back, limiting beliefs that tell us we're not good enough, or doubts that sap our confidence. But here's the beauty: by acknowledging these parts of ourselves, we gain the power to change. Self-reflection is not about judgment or self-criticism. It's about growth. It's about identifying areas where we want to improve and taking steps toward becoming the best version of ourselves. Alongside self-reflection, the inner dialogue we maintain plays a critical role in shaping our lives. Each of us carries an internal voice, a stream of thoughts that comments on everything we do. This voice can be our greatest ally or our harshest critic. When our inner dialogue is compassionate, positive, and encouraging, it builds us up. It becomes the voice that says, "You can do this. Keep going. You are capable of overcoming this challenge." But when our inner dialogue is filled with doubt, negativity, or fear, it becomes a barrier. It becomes the voice that whispers, "You're not good enough. You're going to fail. Why even try?" The power of our inner dialogue lies in the fact that it shapes our reality. What we say to ourselves becomes the lens through which we view the world. When we tell ourselves we are strong, capable, and resilient, we begin to believe it, and we act accordingly. We take on challenges with confidence, knowing that even if we stumble, we have the strength to rise again. But if our inner dialogue is filled with negativity, it colors our perception of the world and ourselves. We begin to see obstacles where there are opportunities, and we limit ourselves before we even begin. So how do we cultivate a positive inner dialogue? It starts with awareness. Just as self-reflection requires us to examine our lives, cultivating a healthy inner dialogue requires us to pay attention to the words we use with ourselves. When we catch ourselves in moments of self-doubt or negativity, we have the power to pause, to challenge these thoughts, and to reframe them in a way that is supportive. It's about shifting from "I can't" to "I am learning," from "I'm not enough" to "I am growing." This shift may seem small, but its impact is profound. It opens us to possibilities, to growth, and to resilience. Through self-reflection and a positive inner dialogue, we build a foundation of self-acceptance and self-love. This foundation empowers us to pursue our dreams without fear, to navigate challenges with grace, and to show up fully in our lives. When we take the time to know ourselves deeply and to speak to ourselves kindly, we give ourselves the permission to evolve. We are no longer bound by the limitations of the past, by old stories or outdated beliefs. Instead, we are free to create new narratives, to envision new possibilities, and to step into our fullest potential. As we continue on this journey of life, let us remember that the most powerful transformations begin within. Through self-reflection, we gain clarity on who we are and who we wish to become. Through a positive inner dialogue, we build the courage and resilience to bring that vision to life. Embrace this journey, for within you lies the power to create a life that is rich in meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Thank you. Transformation through solitude. In a world so alive with voices, with opinions, with endless streams of information, there lies a truth that is often overlooked: the power of solitude. Transformation through solitude isn't just a journey into quiet, it's a journey into quiet, it's a journey into yourself. It's the courage to stand in the silence, to stand alone, and to listen to the voices within that you may have long ignored. Solitude doesn't isolate you from life, it introduces you to your deepest self, the self that is often hidden beneath layers of noise and expectations. When we allow ourselves the space to be alone, we create room for authenticity. Solitude gives us a rare opportunity to pause and meet the person we truly are, without the influence or judgment of others. In solitude, you are not performing for anyone. There's no need to wear masks or fulfill roles. The silence becomes a mirror, showing us our true reflection. For some, that reflection may be startling. For others, it's liberating. But for all, it's an encounter with truth. And the truth, my friends, has the power to transform. Solitude reveals to us that our worth does not lie in external validation, but in the richness of our inner life. In those moments of quiet, we begin to understand that happiness is not something to be pursued out there, but something to be nurtured within. Alone, we learn to cherish our own company, to trust our intuition, to be okay with the thoughts that arise in the stillness. Solitude strips away the need for approval, inviting us to become self-reliant, to stand tall in our individuality. This is the start of a profound transformation, learning to be enough for ourselves, realizing that we have within us all we need to thrive. Consider this: some of the greatest visionaries, creators, and leaders in history have sought solitude not to escape, but to see the world more clearly. In solitude, they nurtured their visions, developed their convictions, and returned with insights that changed the world. Solitude enables us to dream in ways that societal pressures often stifle. It gives us the clarity to see beyond the limitations that the world places upon us. When you enter solitude, you are not abandoning your dreams, you are fortifying them. You are giving yourself the space to listen to what truly moves you, what truly drives you. And in that silent space, you begin to understand the strength of your own voice. Transformation through solitude is a process of self-discovery and empowerment. The more time we spend in solitude, the more we begin to peel back the layers that society, our families, even our friends have placed upon us. We begin to see not only who we are, but who we can become. Solitude teaches us resilience, for in those moments of loneliness we realize that we can face anything. We learn to stand on our own, to find strength not from external sources, but from within. Solitude allows us to develop a foundation that remains unshaken by the external world. It's important to remember that solitude is not about detachment or isolation, it's about reconnection. It's about grounding ourselves so that when we return to the world, we come back with a sense of purpose and clarity. Through solitude, we learn to set boundaries, to honor our own needs, to recognize what serves our growth and what does not. We gain the power to discern between what we truly desire and what we've merely been conditioned to want. This discernment is the essence of transformation. It's the ability to choose a path that aligns with our deepest values and aspirations, rather than simply following the crowd. In solitude, we also confront our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities. There is no place to hide, no distractions to shield us from ourselves. But within that confrontation lies an incredible strength. Facing our fears alone teaches us that they are not as insurmountable as we once thought. Solitude builds courage, for in standing alone we learn that we can endure, that we can thrive, that we can rise. We emerge stronger, more grounded, more capable of handling life's challenges with grace and resilience. So I invite each of you to embrace solitude, to welcome moments of quiet into your life. Step away from the noise, from the relentless demands of the world, and give yourself the gift of solitude. For it is in solitude that transformation takes root, that seeds of change are planted, and that the journey to our true selves begins. When you emerge from solitude, you will find that you are not the same person who entered it. You will return with a deeper understanding of who you are, what you are capable of, and the unique gifts you have to offer the world. The true nature of friendship. I stand before you today to speak about something that touches each of us deeply, the true nature of friendship. In a world that often emphasizes individual success, competition, and self-sufficiency, the concept of friendship can sometimes get lost or misunderstood. But what is friendship, really? Is it simply about having someone to spend time with or share moments of joy? Or is it something more profound, something that transcends casual companionship and taps into the essence of human connection? Friendship, at its core, is built on trust. It's that quiet understanding, that bond which grows stronger over time, and it's rooted in the ability to be vulnerable with one another. True friendship is not about pretending to be perfect or putting on a mask to meet someone else's expectations. No, true friends accept you as you are, flaws, failures, and all, and yet they continue to stand by your side. They don't judge you for your mistakes, but stand as a reminder that you are not alone in this world. In fact, the true power of friendship lies in its capacity to make you feel safe, accepted, and loved, even at your lowest point. It's important to recognize that friendship is a two-way street. It's not a one-sided affair where one person does all the giving while the other simply takes. True friends invest in each other's lives not out of obligation, but because they genuinely care. They listen when you speak, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. They offer advice, not from a place of superiority, but from a deep sense of empathy and understanding. They are there in moments of triumph, and they are there in moments of pain. And perhaps most importantly, they encourage growth. A true friend will never let you stay in a place where you are comfortable in your mediocrity. They challenge you not out of criticism, but from a desire to see you become the best version of yourself. But this kind of friendship is rare. In a society that often places importance on superficial connections, friendships built around convenience or shared interests, many have forgotten what it truly means to be a friend. We are often more focused on our own needs, our own desires, and our own lives, and in doing so, we forget to nurture the bonds that can bring out the best in us. This kind of self-centered living leaves us empty, isolated, and longing for something deeper. True friendship requires a level of commitment that goes beyond the surface. It asks for patience, understanding, and forgiveness. It asks you to give, even when it's inconvenient. It asks you to listen, even when you're not in the mood. It asks you to show up, even when it's not easy. Friendship is not just about the good times, it's about weathering storms together. It's about standing in the face of adversity and knowing that no matter what happens, you have someone who will walk beside you. And just as we give, we also receive. The true nature of friendship is not about keeping score. It's not about how many favors you've done for each other or how many times you've been there for one another in the past. True friendship is about being present in each other's lives with no expectation of return. It is about mutual respect and care, and it requires effort from both sides. When you find a true friend, someone who truly sees you for who you are, it's a relationship worth fighting for. It's a relationship that has the power to change you, to help you become a better person. Not because you are pressured to, but because you are encouraged to grow in love and understanding. The true nature of friendship isn't just in the laughter and the good times, but also in the silent moments, the comfort of being together without needing to speak a word. Sometimes, the strongest bonds are formed not when we are at our best, but when we are at our worst. When we are broken or lost or confused and a friend stands beside us, offering nothing but their presence, that's when we truly understand the power of friendship. And let me say this, true friendship doesn't come easy. It is not something that happens overnight or by chance. It is cultivated, nurtured, and tested over time. It is about building a foundation of respect and trust, and that takes work. It requires you to be vulnerable, to open your heart and soul to someone else. It asks you to give without expecting anything in return. And when both people are committed to this, when both are willing to invest in each other's well-being, the friendship becomes something sacred. Through the mirror of solitude, we are invited to understand that true friendship is not a mere exchange between individuals, but a deep communion with life itself. When we learn to be at peace with ourselves, to embrace the quiet spaces within, we come to realize that we are never truly alone. We are, in fact, always surrounded by the presence of the world, by the infinite friendships that exist beyond the surface, in the air, the trees, the stars. So, if you find yourself walking the path of solitude, do not despair. You are not without friends, you are in the company of the most important one of all, yourself. And from this inner harmony, all other relationships will flow, not as dependencies, but as mutual expressions of the interconnectedness that binds us all. Thank you.